Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Trustee Dan McLean. I'm the Chair of the Finance, Budget, and Enrollment Committee. I would like to call today's special meeting of June 4th, 2025 to order and welcome committee members, trustees, staff, and members of the public. At this time, I'm going to ask everyone who's able to please rise. We acknowledge that we are hosted on the lands of the Mississaugas, of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Wendat. We also recognize the enduring presence of all First Nation, Métis, and Inuit peoples. Miigwech. Thank you. Trustees have had an opportunity to review the agenda and recommendations. Are there any declarations of possible conflict of interest? Hearing and seeing none, we will move on forward with item number 3, which is item number 4. What's next is delegations. Delegations allow the public to address committees of the board and are designed to ensure that members of the public can provide information and perspectives to trustees as we navigate the decision-making process. Delegates are reminded that they are to provide input in a respectful and constructive manner and should not engage in any behavior contrary to the board's code of conduct, human rights policies, or delegation procedure. Today, we have 27 on our delegation list for this afternoon. Each delegate was provided a delegation number. They each will have 3 minutes to present your delegation. You will hear a bell when you approach the end of your time. Trustees may ask questions of clarification following the delegation as well. Each trustee will have 3 minutes for their questions of clarification, and that 3 minutes includes the answer. So we ask that you stay on the line or stay at the table if you're doing them. The session came about after we saw the number of delegation requests on Monday. So I want to thank all the trustees, staff, and members of the public who were able to adapt and to accommodate the earlier session so that we can get through the business of the board as it pertains to our budget and the work of the committee later on this evening. And with that, we'll go with number 1, which is Stephanie Domet, and they're online. So I understand *6. If you press *6 to unmute.
Hello?
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. You may begin.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Stephanie Domet, and I am the swim instructor and lifeguard at Downsview Secondary School. I wanted to take a moment to highlight the significance of our school swimming program, not only for our students, but also for the community members who access the pool through our permit program, which operates Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., as well as Saturday and Sunday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Our swimming program plays a vital role in promoting health, safety, and personal development. It provides students with essential water safety skills, boosts confidence, and encourages physical fitness, all while fostering discipline and teamwork. Additionally, our permit users rely on the pool to teach swimming lessons. Teaching students how to swim and navigate water safely can be life-saving and prevent accidental drownings. Swimming is an excellent full-body workout, improving cardiovascular health, endurance, and muscle strength. Overcoming challenges in the water helps students develop resilience, self-discipline, and confidence in their abilities. Swimming programs encourage teamwork, social bonding, and stress relief, supporting mental well-being. The pool serves as an inclusive space for people of all ages. I appreciate your time and consideration in recognizing the impact of our program. Your continued support is instrumental in maintaining and expanding these opportunities for both students and community members. I welcome the chance to explore how we can work together to longevity and success of this initiative. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Domet. Seeing no questions in the room. Any online? Seeing none, we thank you very much for your delegation. And with
Wonderful,
that,
thank you.
Thank you. With that, we go to number 2, who's Elliot Sang. Elliot is with us. Very excited to hear from you, Elliot. I want to thank you for taking the time. It's always a treat for us and the board and the trustees online and staff watching to be able to hear from students. So you may begin. There'll be a little bell telling you when the end is, but you're going to get a fair amount of latitude, so I'm not entirely sure that you should be worried about the bell. But please proceed.
All right, can I start?
Please.
My name is Elliot Singh. I'm in grade 6 and I've been swimming since kindergarten at Brown Junior Public School. I'm here today to tell you how important swim and music programs are at my school. At Brown, we have weekly swim classes taught by 2 instructors in our school pool. This is a class that students absolutely love and look forward to every week. It is so fun to spend time with my classmates and friends. It makes learning how to swim a very positive experience and way less scary because I'm doing it with my classmates. Kids at my school love swimming so much that I have seen them cry when they leave the swim bags at home. I've done it a few times myself, and I remember how sad I felt not being able to swim in the pool with my classmates. Because Brown has a school pool with a swim program, lots of students love swimming, and this means our school has a swim team. 2 of my closest friends are not super strong swimmers, but were really motivated to improve their swimming skills because they saw that so many students tried out for the school swim team. They really did become better swimmers by working hard, persevering, and not giving up. One of them even made it onto the team, and it was so fun to be on the team with them. When I tried out for the swim team, I was so nervous and scared, but it completely changed my life because it was how I learned about competitive swimming. I didn't know anything about competitive swimming until I joined the swim team. And now I swim with the Toronto Swim Club, and I absolutely love it. It's my passion. If there was no swim program at the school, there would be no swim team, and I would not be swimming competitively. It makes me really sad to think that the TDSB is closing all the pools in the school board. In addition, learning to play the violin at Brown is part of the music program that may not return next year. I don't do music outside of school, and learning the violin in school is the only chance I have to learn a string instrument. I admit that I'm not so good at it yet, but my classmates and I still performed 3 songs at the spring concert last week, and it was great. When I heard that the music program and the aquatics program could be cut next year, I thought it was a joke. It makes me really sad and disappointed thinking that my 6-year-old baby sister and my 8-year-old brother and all kids younger than me could lose out and not receive the same programs that I grew up with. My 2 siblings want to try for the school swim team just like me. Swimming in school makes us strong and resilient. The pool and music programs brings us lots of joy and a chance to explore new things that we wouldn't normally do outside of school. Our pool is like a bond between us and our school. Swimming and music makes us feel fun, proud, strong, and most importantly, joy. Thank you.
Great job. Well done. Do I have any questions online? No, seeing none in the room. Trustee DeVis, can I pass you the chair, sir? Thank you. Through you. So Elliot, So I'm interested in your swim class. And you talked about some of your friends that started off not being great, but they persevered. And so you've seen real progress happen for some of the students that weren't great avid swimmers. And through the course of the year, they've been able to learn and protect themselves near the water and be in position to better enjoy the water.
Yes. That's why I think we should keep the swimming programs because it's like a life skill. And I think like everybody needs to know how to swim to survive. That's why I originally tried out for the swim team, actually.
That's great. And you mentioned the swim team. What strokes do you swim?
I'm mostly a breaststroker and backstroker.
Wow, brother, that's an interesting one to take off the get-go. So good luck with that. We wish you good luck to you and your team. And we thank you very much for taking time out and speaking with us. And there are staff and trustees listening online. So your audience is greater than it initially appears. We very much appreciate you taking the time. And with that, I'll take the chair back. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our third delegate is John Weatherup. Mr. Weatherup? Plus, press star 6, sir.
Hello?
Good evening, Mr. Weatherup. We can hear you. Please proceed.
Okay, yeah, I'm John Weatherup, and I'm the president of the Toronto Education Workers. And as for school boards, we represent members at the TDSB, the Toronto Catholic District School Board, Vieux-Monde, and the Blue Review School Authority. And today I'm going to be speaking on the Special Education Advisory Report. I'll touch in that, how that impacts on the budget. So I'll just start off with just on a quick on when they're looking at pools, music, outdoor education, adult education, international languages, we forget of the impact that those cuts will have on our special education students and staff. The impacts around pools in our special education schools, music and special education has tremendous value in special education. And so when I go through the report from SEAC, the issue of that survey that went out, I just want to be in support of SEAC. The survey that went out to parents, staff, and students around budget cuts and what they should do was totally inappropriate. And the board having backed off of it and then also quoting from it is inappropriate. I know because I did a full research report trying to get something surveyed at the board. It's taking months. And I don't believe this survey was passed through for ethical standards, moral standards, or any standards whatsoever. And also in the report that the TDSB should establish a policy. There should be no cuts to supports and services for students. I think the board always goes back to that the staff is going to remain the same. There will be cuts to services and spec ed this year in different types of services. For example, changing 100 level I special ed EAs who work with mild to moderate in a more academic resource field will be removed, leaving hundreds and hundreds of our students without those resources. There's going to be issues around busing, and that's another issue. So I'd like the board to set up a committee with the unions and a representation from SEAC to monitor that. I'll be putting that in a motion. And I just want to quote from the OPSPA report that's out on special education funding. It's been a number of years. Our schools are in crisis now. I met Monday and Tuesday with DECEs and EAs from Waterloo to Simcoe to Durham down to Halton region and all through. And the issues around what's happening with our special ed students, both in the early years and in the regular, so the programming with special eds, EAs are delivering their service, is in crisis today. And if you read through the OPSPA report, it talks over the number of years of being in a crisis. So I just want to, as we get lost in all this, we're going to put the values back on how we value students, how we value parents, and how we value our staff. We cannot allow the abuse or abandonment of special ed children, and these reports are not verifying what's actually in our school, and that's why I would recommend that we have a committee to look at that. And again, back to the pools, music, outdoor education, all those, and we're more than willing to sit down with the board. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Mr. Weatherup. Thank you very much. Have any questions online? Seeing none, none in the room. Thank you, sir. And with that, we will turn to Jason Ramsey, who's also from Toronto Education, Local 4400. To press star 6, sir, you unmute.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can. Please begin.
Thank you. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jason Ramsey. I'm a caretaker with the Toronto District School Board and the Health and Safety Representative with Toronto Education Workers Local 4400. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with the committee today regarding the 2025-26 operational budget update, particularly in relation to which outlines costs associated with pool permits and caretaking services. In the next step section concerning pools, the Toronto Lands Corporation is expected to present a report at the June 11, 2025 Planning and Priorities Committee meeting. This report recommends that one, the TDSB continue to permit pools until January 1st, 2026, and that the TDSB implement the full permit fee increase of $109.05 effective September 1st, 2025, which would generate approximately $300,000 in additional revenue from September 1st to December 31st, 2025. I strongly urge trustees to permits for the entire 25-26 operational year. This extension would provide certainty for permit holders and school communities who rely on these facilities. It's important to recognize that caretaking staff already perform substantial pool-related maintenance throughout the school year, even when pools are not in use at no additional cost, as part of our regular duties. Furthermore, integral mechanical systems such as air handling units, natural gas lines, boilers, and chemical storage facilities must continue to be maintained in accordance with the manufacturer's specification. Even if the pools were closed, failure to properly maintain this equipment would pose serious safety risks to both workers and the broader school community, with the possibility of contraventions related to the Occupational Health and Safety Act. Given the implications of any decisions to close school pools, I also recommend that the Joint Health and Safety Committee for the Toronto District School Board be consulted to ensure that all actions remain in full compliance with associated health and safety legislation. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your time, and I can take any questions or clarification.
Thank you, Mr. Ramsey. Do you have any questions online? Seeing none, and there are no questions.
Chair.
Sorry, Trustee Patel, please
Yes.
proceed.
Thank you, Chair, and through you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, James, for the delegation. I heard that caretakers do all the maintenance of the pool. Is it everything related to cleaning the pool, like removing the water, brushing, the chemical levels and those type of things, or it's just a general cleanup? I'd like to understand the duties of a caretaker when it comes to swimming pool.
No, and I've actually just noticed, I appreciate the question. I just noticed it says James. It's supposed to be Jason on the screen, but thank you for the question. So it depends on the size of the pool, but generally caretakers do more than just the standard cleanliness and sanitation. In our pool filter rooms, the mechanical systems are quite complex. If it's, for example, the use of what's known as a Strantol system, which helps feed chemical such as chlorine or muric acid from the filter room into the pool. And then the caretakers make sure that the chemicals in the pool remain balanced throughout the day by doing several checks. So if there are students going in there and there may have been an accident, we may need to super chlorinate the pool, so add more chlorine. We may have to reduce the water in the pool and add more. It depends on the levels that come back after the test. So during the school year, we do more of the preventative maintenance. We do have skilled trades at the TDSB that do more of the repairs, but those are also identified by the caretakers. And as I mentioned, there are specifications required by the manufacturer that need to be met. So that would involve semi-annual to annual checks. For example, something as simple as an air handling unit going down can create a lot of moisture in the air and a drop in temperature, which can affect several other parts in a pool room. So caretakers do a lot of maintenance throughout the school year, and our skilled trades do a lot of the repairs.
All right. So to my understanding, Jason, it's a combination of both, like the experts from outside and the caretaker in the school. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you, Chair. Thank you for this. Thank you, Jason, for your delegation.
Thank you, Trustee Patel. And I apologize, Mr. Ramsey, for the issue with your name on the board. And with that, seeing no further online or in the room, we thank you, sir, for your delegation.
Thank you.
Next is Habiba Aden. You're online, is my understanding. Press *6 to unmute.
She's online.
If you press *6 to unmute, if you ignore if you're watching on home, there's about a 7 or 8 second delay. So if you turn the sound off in your computer and press *6, you should be able to become unmuted.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Habiba Aden, and I'm an educational assistant for Toronto District School Board. I work with students with developmental disabilities. At my work, there has been unprecedented workplace violence increase from students towards educational assistants. Why? The educational assistants are the primary contact of these students. And when these students don't receive the specialized comprehensive programming that is designed to meet their social, emotional, and educational and behavior needs, their frustration level increases and their unwanted behavior resulted into the staff burnout and injuries. Many of these students with the right support have the potential to lead fulfilling lives and become contributing members of our community. However, without appropriate programs in place, there has been cuts from left and right every year. To address the unique needs of these students, we are seeing incidents of a workplace violence escalate, affecting both students and staff in a ways that could have been prevented. By addressing our students' needs, whether special needs or not, we will not only reduce incidents of a workplace violence, but also give these students the opportunity to develop the skills they need to succeed. They will learn how to manage their behavior, express themselves in a constructive way, build a meaningful relationship with peers and staff, and ultimately, we are investing in their future and creating a safer, more supportive environment for everyone in our schools. Please support these students and let's not cut their ears. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions online? Seeing no questions online or in the room, Ms. Aden, we thank you for your service and we thank you for your delegation.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Next is
Gail.
Gail Miller, is a parent and caregiver. Online, it's my understanding. If you press *6, you're good to go.
Good afternoon. My name is Gail Miller. In 2015, my son entered French Immersion Senior Kindergarten at Alexander Sterling Public School, hereafter referred to as ASPS. I joined the Parent Council, which was chaired by the principal. It was myself, the grandmother of a little girl in my son's class, and one other mother. Since then, the Parent Council has blossomed into an effective, high-functioning, supportive advocate for the children and families of ASPS with the unwavering critical support of the parent, caregiver, and community engagement workers, henceforth referred to as PCCW. Yes, ASPS is a model school, a school where many of the children face systemic and economic challenges. Today, I am here to advocate for the PCCWs who service over 1/4 of the students, parents, families, and schools in TDSB, which includes my family. Considering the removal of PCCW positions is unconscionable. It would be a desecration to the 5 strategic pillars which TDSB's facilities, services, and planning has identified to guide decision-making and support its multi-year strategic plan, especially the foundational pillar, equity. These 5 pillars are responsible for birthing the model school program, which was designed to increase access, opportunities, and success for all students. The model school program is dependent on PCCEWs in order to be executed. Without the PCCEWs, the model school program would be reduced to a handout of $10,000 to $15,000. This is not enough. Without the PCCEWs, one, parent voices and school engagement such as school council would diminish. Two, parents would have no direction in navigating the school system for their child or children's success. Three, there would be no one to connect the schools with community partners to create and support additional school programs, such as Hawk, Mix and Mingle, breakfast programs. Four, parent advocacy would not be executed to its full extent. That's why ASPS parents are here today. Five, relational engagement would be absent. For example, safe spaces to have discussions and workshops for families about mental, financial, health, domestic, disciplinary, and legal issues, just to name a few. Let me be more specific. PCCEWs were instrumental in one, ASPS French immersion parents advocating and navigating the TDSB system in order to change and receive the feeder high school of their choice. Two, providing tools to strengthen parent voices for advocacy. ASPS parents were able to obtain an additional teacher when my daughter's class was threatened with a 3 split grade. As a result, my daughter ended up in a single grade class. Three, creating a community resource room inside of ASPS, a dedicated safe space for parents acquired through advocacy and relational engagement. The removal of parent caregiver community engagement workers is not an option. They are the pillars of the model school program. A removal of these pillars is a collapse in the model school program, a collapse in equity, a collapse in student achievement and success, and a major, if not complete, collapse in the education system, which is already unstable. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. Trustee DeVitis.
Hi, Gail.
Hi.
What school are your kids in?
Alexander Sterling Public School and
Great.
Agincourt Collegiate Institution.
Great. And do you feel that the school community would have the same capacity if these positions were cut?
No, not at all.
Can you elaborate on that? Like what is it
Yes.
about the PCEWs that that builds capacity for the school community?
Okay, so for example, for the model schools, so we're model school. Our PCCEW, she helps with our creation of our programs. She helps us to navigate. I don't know if you heard, but I've been in this school system with my children for French immersion since 2015. From the beginning, so at the time we had different at the time it was called CSW. So we were a new French immersion program. So we did not yet have a feeder school. They wanted to give us a specific one, but the parents wanted a different one. So what happened was our CSW at the time helped us to navigate how to advocate for getting the school of our choice. And so we did everything she was saying, and she and the principal worked along with the school council, and we were able to achieve our goal, which was to have our children go to the school we wanted to go to.
Great.
That's just one example. I can continue if you wish.
No, that's fair enough. Thank you so much, Gail, and thank you for your deputation.
Thank you, Trustee DeVitis. Trustee Dawson.
Thank you through the chair. Thank you so much, Gail, for your delegation. You listed, and I didn't catch them, a couple of sort of local school initiatives that have impacted the entire community. Something about nutrition, maybe. Can you elaborate on some of those local initiatives? Like, were there workshops? Were there any other activities for families that came to fruition?
Okay, so what I was saying was the breakfast program.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We have a breakfast program and it's only once a week, but it's to serve all the children that can come before a certain time, because we have many high needs. A lot of children are, as we said, economically disadvantaged. And so we want to ensure that they have a good breakfast before they get to school. Sometimes they come to school and they're ready for the snack program that is in the school, and school hasn't even started just because they didn't have enough to eat that morning or they didn't have anything to eat that morning. So that's one way we service the community. We have the mix and mingles, which is a safe space here in the school for parents to come. And we have all types of discussions. Sorry, not mix and mingle. Mix and mingle, meet and greet, same thing. So they come, they sit down, we talk with them, the PCCEWs, the school council. We hear the needs of what's going on in the school with their children, the community, different topics we discuss. As I said, we'll talk about, write down even disciplinarian actions for children at home, or even different actions that could occur at school in terms of discipline. We also discuss health, financial, mental issues.
Wow, that's
literacy,
amazing.
numeracy. Sorry, I'm just looking here on my sheet. Literacy, numeracy. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing the breadth of programming that is implemented by the parent, caregiver, and community engagement workers. We really appreciate your advocacy. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee
Thank you.
Dawson. Seeing no others in the room or online. Thank you, Ms. Miller, for your delegation, your advocacy, and your work on school council. With next, we will go
Thank
to Ms. Butler, which is also online. If you press *6.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Veronica Martin Butler. Hello?
Yep, you may proceed.
Okay, thank you. And I also have 2 children in the TDSB currently attending Alexander Sterling Public School. At Alexander Sterling Public School, I'm speaking today to express my deep concern and opposition to the proposed elimination of the parent and caregiver community engagement workers, also known as PCCEWs, as part of the TDSB budget reductions. These workers are not just staff, they are lifelines. They ensure that families like mine and thousands more across Toronto remain connected, informed, and empowered to support our children's learning. They are the cultural connectors, the navigators of complex systems, and safe and trusted faces for parents who otherwise feel left out of the school life due to language, systemic barriers, or socioeconomical challenges. At a time when equity is supposed to be at the heart of the TDSB mission, this cut sends the wrong message that our children's schools must choose between being academically excellent and socially just. If these positions are cut, families facing hardships will become more isolated. For example, at our school in 2024, we were able to build a community room, the first of its kind in an elementary school, to have a safe space for parents, caregivers, and community partners and TDSB vendors to meet. Parent engagement, especially in racialized newcomer and low-income communities, will plummet. By supporting, PCCEWs will be they support our parents, caregivers, and their children. They've supported with 3-part literacy series, numeracy workshops, again, monthly meet and greets to discuss various topics, and help our parents and caregivers navigate the school system. The very foundation of model schools approach, wraparound, inclusive support, will be severely weakened. Parents may lose culture relevant learning. We've been able to implement more of that here at ASPS through storytelling and affirmation writing, through African drumming, continue to have relational engagement, the importance of how to read and comprehend your child's report card, the importance of your children's attendance, mental health and well-being, navigating kids having stress, again, nutrition, and foremost supporting with the school non-funded breakfast program, and of course, with social media. Our PCCEW continues to help us bridge the gap between our community and our school administrators. Together, I urge you to look beyond the budget lines. I recognize the long-term cost of losing this critical role. I ask that you vote to protect and preserve the PCCEWs and the integrity of the model schools for inner city programs.
Thank you, Ms. Butler. Trustee King.
Thank you, through you, Chair. Thank you, Ms. Butler, for your delegation. You mentioned a number of
You're welcome.
areas. Thank you. You mentioned a number of areas where the work of the PCCWs supports. You mentioned a number of areas in terms of academic achievement as well as community engagement and well-being. I'm just curious
Yes.
to know whether or not in your schools you also see a connection to school climate and safety. It's another area that I know that we all have our eye on, and I'm just curious whether you see a relationship between that role and the levels of safety in the school as well.
There is some, of course, as a parent of two Black males, there could be more that's happening. I feel that more parents should be aware of the Safe and Caring Schools program and also be invited to sit at the round tables when they are happening.
And is that, through you, Chair, is that something that the PCCWs have been involved in connecting you with in the past?
Yes, they have. And they've
Okay.
also helped us build partners with the city peers program on social media and safety.
Okay, great. Thank you so much again, Ms.
Yeah.
Butler.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee King. And seeing no furthers online or in the room, Ms. Butler, we thank you for your delegation.
And thank you so much for taking my delegation. Thank you.
And can, before we head on to number 11, can I get the trustees online who have joined to please share with us that you're in attendance?
Trustee Arts is here.
Trustee Dawson is here.
Trustee Dawson is here.
Trustee Hassan is here.
Dennis Hastings.
Thank you, trustees. And the record will also reflect that Trustee Klein has entered the room. And with that, we will go to number 11, Ms. Adonis, who I believe is expected to be in the room. Rhonda Adonis. Okay, with that, we will go to number 12, also expected to be in the room, Brittany Clifford. We have Ms. Clifford. Thank you.
Hi there, good afternoon. I just want to preface with saying I'm going to go through this speech fairly quickly just because I want to get everything in.
Before you start, can I get to just move the mic slightly so that Elliot had it turned down a little bit so it could get to him, but that's better.
Good?
People online won't be able to hear. Perfect.
Okay.
Please proceed.
So my name is Brittany Clifford, and I'm a proud mother of 6 amazing children. Currently, 2 of my children attend Shoreham Public School in grades 1 and 3, while my oldest child is enrolled in the gifted program at Stanley Public School in grade 4. I come before you today not only as a parent, but as a voice for many families in our community. 5 years ago, when my firstborn started school, I knew I wanted to be an involved parent within my child's school. I had no idea how parent councils worked. I didn't know the policies or really how to get involved. I showed up to a parent council meeting, and that is where I got to meet our PCCEW, which is what started my journey of where I am today as a school council chair to both my kids' schools, and as a very recent, I became an emergency supply teacher. Because of the partnerships and the support step by step, I was able to start volunteering regularly, and which helped me to get to where I am now. They have always been very involved, welcoming, and supportive through everything, and helping plan events to organizing workshops for parents to truly having an impact and making differences in students, parents, and the community as a whole. I've watched them firsthand spring into action and support parents who are struggling to provide food and winter jackets for their children. I did not know what a PCCEW was before. However, now I am so thankful they are part of the school system and community because their partnership and impact is much needed. I would like to share 3 key points that I believe highlight just how deeply these changes and cuts are affecting students and families. Firstly, the erosion of opportunity. Programs like gifted education, sports, music, and extracurricular activities are not just extras. For many students, especially those from underserved communities, these are vital lifelines that ignite their passions, foster their talents, and give them a reason to thrive in school and other areas in their lives. They engage our children, challenge them, and open doors they may not even know exist. For my son in the gifted program, it's the difference between simply attending school and truly thriving to his full potential. For many others, these programs are what keep them connected and excited about learning. When school programs are cut, it doesn't just affect the students, it affects entire families and the broader community. Let me bring this closer to home by telling you how these changes are affecting my own family directly. As I mentioned, my son is in the grade 4 gifted program. Last year, we made the very tough decision to transfer him to Stanley because of the great opportunity of the gifted program, in which we were told he would be there for 2 years until his transition into middle school. Just a few weeks ago, we were informed without any input from parents that they would now be moving the gifted program to North Kipling School, a school that is in a completely different ward, may I add. The transition for my kid in his prime age of 9 was hard enough for him, who has great social and emotional skills. But what about the children who have social, emotional, and mental health needs? To now being pulled away again from a space only 1 year into a program where they have already adapted to, built strong connections, and have a sense of belonging, among numerous other things. This isn't just an inconvenience, it's a disruption to children's learning, to family routines, and to their emotional well-being. And it's not just my son. The ripple effects of these cuts are massive. In our community, eliminating programs like swimming means that students at local high schools lose access to essential life skills, life experiences, and growth opportunities. Music programs such as steel pans at Shoreham and other schools, special education services, some of which I mentioned above, these are not luxuries. They are lifelines and they shape futures. As parents, it's our opinion that students should remain at Stanley for the next year and then transition into a middle school that can be easily accessed within our community and where we are able to stay and be partners.
Ms.
Moreover-
Clifford, you've run through your 3 minutes. We thank you for your delegation. Trustee DeVitas has a question of
I
Clifford.
just have 20 seconds. Can I just finish?
I was going to ask if you can clarify your last point.
Where did I say? I even
I
stop
liked
that?
it better when I gave her the 20 seconds. You set a precedent I'm not happy to grant, but we'll let you conclude.
Okay. Our children deserve the best, and that is why I asked why our opinions were not taken into consideration. I wonder if the lived experience, perspectives, and histories of the two communities were even considered while making this decision. Was there a risk assessment done to identify potential safety risks for kids? Jane and Finch and Rexdale communities, was there strategies to develop and navigate them? Did the TDSB explore alternative locations in which would be less risky? These are answers we would all love to know for the betterment of our children in the community. Widening the equity gap, cuts to enrich programming often hit the most vulnerable families the hardest and unfairly don't affect all families equally. Without these programs in public schools, many children are left behind simply because their families cannot afford private alternatives. Also, the impact on mental health and emotional well-being. These programs do more than teach skills. They build self-esteem, resilience, and community. When they disappear, so does a vital part of our children's support system, especially those children who do not have that at home. Our children feel it deeply. I'm standing here today as proof of how important parent engagement is. I urge you to consider not just the numbers on a budget sheet, but the lives behind them. Our children deserve the best chance to dream big, be challenged, to have equal opportunities, and to be supported in every way possible. Thank you for listening and for standing with families like mine.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Chair, for your patience as well. So a couple of questions first about CSWs, and then after that about that issue with Stanley. Did you know that Shoreham Public School, as it's now called, is ranked #1 of all elementary schools in the LOI?
Correct. I recently found that out. Yes.
Okay. So what do you feel, if you can clarify, what do you feel is the TVSB's responsibility towards schools that are on the higher end of the LOI? What do you think we should be doing?
For schools like Shoreham and Stanley, we need more funding. We need more support staff. There's a constant need for there's no lack of teachers. There's a constant need for extra support. We need the funding put into programs that these kids actually need and are going to use and benefit from.
Thank you so much for that. And then in regards to Stanley, as I understand that there was an enriched program there, grade 4s and 5s, correct?
Correct, yes.
And parents received a letter about a month ago that notified them that those kids are now going to be in a school in the Rexdale area.
Correct, yes.
What do you feel is the safety concern from having kids that are, generally speaking, from the Jane and Finch area are now going to be bused into Rexdale?
There's definitely safety concerns, as I'm not sure who knows this. People that live in these communities, we see things every day that many of you may not, and including that, there's so many previous histories of gang violence, tons of different things. So to pull a community of Jane and Finch and put it in a whole other community like Rexdale, that's why I asked, were there safety put in place, or yes, was that into consideration, put into consideration?
To illustrate it for other folks, if you can clarify, sometimes even within the same neighborhood, within Black Creek or Jane Finch, however you want to call it, sometimes having kids from different schools on the north end, on the south end of Finch, sometimes that's an issue as well, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay, so then moving them to an entirely different neighborhood, and it's not a big number of kids, and they're younger, but moving them to an entirely different neighborhood, you feel would put those students at risk?
I do think it's definitely a factor that should be looked at. It's unfortunate that if the program leaves from Stanley, nowhere in Jane and Finch and surrounding is there a gifted program for elementary students. So not only are we taking that away from them, putting them what could be in an unsafe predicament, yeah. So,
thank you so much.
no problem.
Thank you, Ms. Clifford, for your conviction, your delegation, and your ongoing efforts to support two school councils. We thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to remind trustees that our questions are to be questions of clarification. And with that, we will go to number 13, Ms. Manu. I believe you're online. Please press *6 to become unmuted.
Good evening, trustees and community members. My name is Lorena Monroy, and I am a parent and co-chair of the Parent Council at Starcroft Public School. And I am happy to be here and be able to speak in support of preserving the model schools for inner cities, the parent caregiver engagement programs, as well as those who, among many other things, help run such programs such as our PCC EWs. These programs are what makes schools truly accessible to families, especially those navigating complex systems with limited support. They build trust, foster connection, and make real engagement between schools and communities possible. I personally am being currently supported by our PCC EW, who is helping me advocate for a safer crossing zone that leads to our school. He is guiding me through the process, who to write to, what steps to take, and continues to show up with clarity and care. He also regularly attends our council meetings and is always available when we need support. But his work reaches beyond my school, or my children's school, where I have 3 children. All those 3 children will be attending Alaya Middle School. I attended that school myself, and our PCCW has helped build a powerful community hub there. It now includes indoor hydroponic and tower gardens, children's clothing bank, and other resources that meet the real and daily needs of families in the area. And these are not just helpful extras. They're living examples of what happens when schools are equipped to serve whole communities. Parent and caregiver engagement worker programs and the Model School Initiative makes that possible, not just by supporting students, but by strengthening the entire ecosystem around them. Parent and caregiver engagement matters, and our PCCWs play a crucial role in facilitating our involvement. If these programs are cut, the consequences won't just show up on paper. They'll show up in our homes, our classrooms, and in the academic, social, and safety outcomes of our children. These programs are not optional, they're essential, and I urge you to protect them and the people who carry them, so our schools can continue to be places of care, access, and connection. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Any questions online? No questions, not in the room. Thank you, Ms. Manu, for your ongoing work with the school council co-chair and your delegation today. I
My
think it
pleasure.
is,
Thank you so much.
I think it is worth noting that the cuts that are being referenced to the PCCEWs are not on our options to balance list. They are not something currently being discussed by the committee and part of our budget process. But because our budget process isn't complete, we've agreed to hear these today. And with that, we'll go to
Thank you
number
very much.
14. Melissa Barnes. Not here today. Ms. Barnes, I think we're anticipating in the room. So we will go to number 15. Tilahun. I think we were expecting in person. Okay. So we'll go to number 16. Ms. Quist, who I understand is online. We invite you to press *6 to become unmuted.
Yes, I'm online.
Yeah, we can hear you. Please proceed.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Millie Quist, and I'm a parent of 5 children. 4 is currently in TDSB, and I have 4 in Melody Village, which is the French program. I'm appealing to the board regarding the parent caregiver. They've done a lot for me personally as a parent, as a staff, as a community worker. When my children started school, I did not know about their program. Down the line, my support worker, Kofi, who was in one of the schools my children attended, brought it to my attention. This is what they're able to do. So we did programs like giving parents food handler certificates, first aid, providing a caregiver program for the parents to also be able to volunteer and also acquire employment within themselves. And also during COVID, they also provided food baskets, which has still become something that we're doing up to this date in our community. We are still doing it. Parents are still calling our support workers for need. When they're new in the country, how do they go about? When I get a call, I call my support worker. So it's something that I'm asking that the board please look at. Do not cut this program. This program is very important to the community. It helps newcomers coming into the country, and it helps us as new parents that are starting up to give us more information that we need about the schools that our children are attending. That will be everything. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Quist. Seeing none in the room and none online, we thank you very much for your delegation. And with that, we will go to number 18, which we believe is in person, Tamisha Moles. And with that, we will go to another in person, Alex Moyes.
No, it's virtual now.
I'm sorry?
He changed.
Oh, virtual. Okay. So if you press *6, you can become unmuted. Alex Moyes. If you press *6, and if you turn one of the potentials is that there's an 8-second delay if you're listening online. So if you press *6, you can become unmuted. We think they're online?
He's on.
Okay, we'll make an effort to try to connect. And with that, in the interim, we'll go to number 22, which is Chantel Pereira and Angus Grant and Hugh Keen, apparently. If you press *6, you can become unmuted.
Hello?
Can you identify yourself, please, sir?
This is Angus Grant from the John McCree Parent Teacher Council.
Please proceed, sir.
Okay. So thank you for having me speak. I'm going to have to summarize very quickly. The small school program has been vital from my experience. It's one of the key things that we as a parent council utilize to try to engage the parents. And at John McCree, engaging parents has been an incredible challenge. We have a very low income group of people that are with us. A lot of them work 12 hours a day, and very many of them are not engaged with the school at all. Through the model program, we've received funding that's allowed us to go and bring in at least 20 new people into the school, which is an achievement for us, especially as we've been spending the time since COVID trying to rebuild the council. It's provided us a link. It's provided us something that has really been helpful in trying to build more parent involvement in the school, which has been vital to the school itself. Our kids have much more improved having parents involved at our school, and it's something that we really do value. Instead of getting rid of it, what we suggest is a three-pronged approach, which is included in the letter that we provided. In that, one second, we first of all take, sorry, I'll take my son home right now. We take a focused adaptive planning mindset. So that instead of just making the resources available, that the board, the parents, as well as the school administration, we work together to go and put together actual set goals, outcomes, and activities so that we can actually take the money, take the resources that are there, plan it out, and make it very specific to the actual schools in mind. From there, we also suggest having a learning mindset as well, in which the lessons learned and best practices from each school is shared on a regular basis to all the schools in Toronto so that we don't have to keep on repeating the project. We can learn from it and make use of the resources right away. The last one from there also is we found that there is a great problem with accessing the resources of our community. There's an awful lot of small businesses and people that would like to go and make donations or to go and help out with the school, providing ice cream for our fun fair, taking part in our fun fair, or anything along those lines. Unfortunately, because they don't fall within the TDSB's vendor system, we're not allowed to use them, which means that we're then expending an awful lot of money, including model school program money, on resources such as a $20 paintbrush instead of a 50-cent paintbrush. Taking the vetting process and making it friendly to the model school program so that we don't necessarily need to follow it to the letter, but at least in the spirit, so that we still go and use the resources properly. And taking a look at that would be great. Sorry, I'm walking my son home from school, so I'm a bit flustered right now. But all this stuff is detailed in the letter that we did provide, so it will be a lot more informative than that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We thank you for your delegations. I have no questions online or in the room, so we thank you for your delegation.
Okay, thank you very much.
With that, we will turn to number 23, Sarah Badasarajani, which we were anticipated to be in person. Okay, so we'll mark that as a no-show. Number 24, Ms. Thomas, we're expecting in person. That's a no-show. Number 25, Sadia Awad, we're expecting in person. Another no-show. Cindy Kenwell, number 26, is to be virtual. Ms. Kenwell, are you online?
Hello?
Ms. Kenwell?
Hello? I'm here.
Hi. That's great. Please proceed.
Thank you. My name is Cindy Kenwell, and I'm a parent, and I'm here to speak about my experience with the Model School for Inner City and parent caregiver engagement workers. My son is currently enrolled in the TDSB, now in grade 9, but he attended Elmbank Junior Middle Academy from kindergarten to grade 8. I was actively involved with the school and as school council chair from 2017 to 2025. When I joined school council, it was a role of the PCCEW who helped guide me through the school, as they did not have an active school council for many years prior to me joining. Together, we had a goal, and during the course of my time at Elmbank and with the help of our PCCEW, we were able to engage with many families and provide them with the resources they needed. Over the course of my 8 years, the school council went from being non-existent, a one-member person, to over a 5-person executive team and over 15-plus voting members. This was thanks to the hard work and support of our PCCEW. Together, we held yearly community breakfasts, which saw over 50-plus people attending and brought in resources like the Toronto Public Health. We provided guided tours of our area for our families so they can locate the resources available to them, such as the library, the Rexdale Hub, and the YMCA. We organized workshops such as online safety presentations by Boost, and we held a food sovereignty presentation where families were able to walk away with food baskets and groceries, which was presented to us by the African Food Basket. We arranged for CPR and food handling courses to allow for our families to get their certificates to help them find employment. Our school is situated in an area in 2024 we experienced gun violence that had directly affected our school and our community. Our PCCEW worked with our council, and we quickly put together a committee consisting of our council, school admin, and the Toronto Police. We worked and planned a community safety and engagement night hosted at our school. We were able to secure a grant through the City of Toronto to allow us to provide food to our families. We had 5-plus local agencies, and our city council are in attendance. Most importantly, we were able to bring in over 100-plus people for this event, which would not have been possible without the help of our PCCEW. The PCCEW is the heart of our school. Without them, our school would not have been able to have the success that we did engaging our parent community. The knowledge and connections that they have to the resources are invaluable. I ask yourself, why is it that we always look to these communities that have people such as the PCCEWs in them to cut programs or resourcing first? Why is it that affluent communities do not face such hardship? Please take all of this into consideration, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Kenwell, and thank you and all the efforts of your community that got together and had your public meeting, and the efforts of protecting the students and other members of your community. Seeing no questions in the room, no questions online.
Number 20. 20.
Yeah, okay. So we thank you, Ms. Kenwell. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Alex Moyes, we understand we have you now.
Yes, thank you so much. There was some technical issues.
Yeah,
thank you
no
so
worries.
much for
Please,
the opportunity.
please proceed.
All right, my name is Alex, and I'm a parent and on council at Kilsdale Junior Public School, a model school for inner cities. I know that we all share the crucial values of equity and quality in education, and that we are all striving to find a way forward through these budget cuts that doesn't do a disservice to our students. But this is not just about numbers. How do you conceive of a school? School can be the magic of butterflies hatching from cocoons and letters on a page finally congealing into words, sentences, and stories. It is a place where our children's self-esteem grows if nurtured. It is not just a place where we send our children while we do our adult work. Rather, it is a place where our next generation is shaped. And it can be a lifeline, because school can also be a place where a hungry student can eat, where parents can learn more about how to best support their children's mental health, well-being, and education. But a school can only be all of these things if it has the funding. The Model School for Inner Cities program aims to champion students' academic and social success while providing support to their families. The TDSP says that it is committed to establishing schools at the heart of the community, but also acknowledges that this necessitates, quote, equitable educational opportunities and adequate school resources, end quote. I find it hard to reconcile this goal with the discussion that brings us here today. Our model school funding and our community engagement worker, or PCCEW, are crucial. Our funding helps to connect us to culturally relevant resources, reading and numeracy coaches, student nutrition programs, and vision and hearing screenings for our school. Our community support worker helps our school community to navigate the educational system and access career supports that can obtain better outcomes for our families. We need more support, not less. And it is not just our school. 15 of the 21 schools in Ward 6 are designated model schools and would be disproportionately impacted by any cuts to the model school program. As parents of the future generation, we would like to ensure that students in Ward 6 and across Toronto receive the education they deserve. Removing this funding runs counter to the ideas of equity and inclusiveness that underpin not just the model schools program, but our shared goal to provide a quality education for every child, regardless of their circumstance. We cannot claim that we welcome all students and then turn away from the very real and impactful effects of socioeconomic status on their families. Our school serves a diverse and radiant community marked by great resilience, but do not lean too heavily on that resilience. Instead, I urge you to recognize the inherent curiosity, capacity, and potential of our students and help us to realize it. Early intervention in these communities sets the stage for a lifetime of positive outcomes. Give them magic, give them lifelines, give them opportunities. I'm here to ask you to preserve our model school funding and the positions of PCCEWs, because it is not just numbers, just the schools are not just buildings. Instead, protect and uphold this funding and show our children that you are willing to invest in them, show them what you believe that they are capable of, and give them equitable access to the tools they need to get there. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Moyes. Seeing no questions in the room or online, we thank you very much for your delegation, and we thank you for defeating your technical challenges. So thank you.
Defeating, yes, thank you.
And our last delegate of this special meeting will be delegate number 27, Ms. Aldridge, who we are expecting and is in fact in person. So please. You may begin when you're ready.
All right, thank you. I'll first share a snippet from a report originally shared under the Harper government, and hopefully it keeps to its meaning even in this setting. The crisis of funding equity among school boards is directly attributable to cuts in the provincial support for education. Even though the government states that they have increased the budget per child, increasing the budget per child is not the same as addressing the wide funding gap. Stepping into this conversation as a disabled mother of disabled children, navigating what feels like an insurmountable mountain just to access school support, I will admit that I am angry. As a Black woman, I'm not ashamed of my anger, because alongside my anger are two other emotions in this space, empowerment and ambition. Brené Brown said in her novel that anger is the catalyst, not the action. We had the Premier and previous Minister of Education share that they will support teachers in contacting police on children who do not put away cell phones. On the other hand, we are not hearing from the province about funding supports for disability, including impulsivity or technology, improvement in special education, or other whole child positive reinforcement for education supports with such a quick turnaround, one phone call away support for teachers. The problem with per child model is that the assumption is all children at all time have the same accessible education needs. This is outdated. Modern cost structure is based on the ever-evolving understanding of the costs associated with educating students from a student-centric whole child perspective. There continues to be a gap between the pull towards student-centric approach in education and a funding model focused on what we think is reflective of reality. Per child funding model is really reflective of the industrial age. Keep in mind that we are not just looking to address capacity pressures, which is still funding approaches per child. Education includes a whole child. The whole child cost structure is more meaningful and will demonstrate that funding includes access to CUIWs, social workers, PCCEWs, mental health hub, disability supports, etc. While teachers provide the instructions, there are other supports to ensure that students access education outside the skill sets of the teachers. If you don't mind, can I continue and finish it off? It's really finished. Okay. Okay. Oh, thanks. So for our parent and caregiver with students attending chronically underfunded model schools, finding resources and support through a poverty reduction lens can feel like an isolated experience without the help of PCCEWs or even education assistants. Please do not ignore the reality that increased funding is not the same as closing the funding gap. And what I'm asking for actually is just no cuts.
Thank you, Ms. Aldridge. Trustee DeVitas.
A question of clarification. You mentioned student-centered learning. How do CSWs relate to your understanding of what student-centered learning is within the TDSB?
So it's really some kids, they require that. It's one thing for a child to sit down in class and be able to and be able to learn and understand, but some there are complexities. Not all kids have, like, I had a teacher once ask, how do I know, looking at a test paper, if this child is going through trauma? And that is a reality. And that teachers do end up feeling like they are the ones that are failing when it's just that they are trained to teach. That is what they went to school for, and that's what they come out with. They will have other sort of skill sets to be able to understand, students, but other support systems, social workers, for example, and other, mental health and also family support is going to come into that pool to see the other things that does not show up, that you can't really mark for on a test paper. And even for brilliant kids that are, doing well, but are having behavioral challenges, them being able to understand how to interact and with their environment, it is very much a whole child's approach that really helps us see what needs to happen to ensure that a child accesses education.
Do you feel that schools currently have the resources to develop the type of ideal student-centered learning that you're describing?
Not model schools so much. Music, for example, in a lot of the model schools that I visited and the model school that my child attends, it's almost non-existent. There's a few dusted instruments, but it's not something that's there. And in terms of they haven't, the supports that's there, and the teachers also knowing the support. Sometimes for the teachers in the classroom, they feel like they are dealing with like almost like putting out little fires all around. And it really reduces the amount of time that they have to be able to understand. I've had teachers that fill out even ADHD form improperly because just trying to get someone to help, and then with them filling it out improperly, then the next step is escalation, and that creates even more burden on there. And again, I'm not talking about teachers who are, where it's a human rights or like, a problem with the human being right there in the classroom. These are a lot of times good teachers that are there, and they're stretched thin trying to be everything to all students. And that is not going to create an environment where teachers can actually focus on the one core thing that they were trained to do, which is teach.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee DeVitas. Trustee King.
Thank you, through you, Chair. Good afternoon, Ms. Aldridge. Thank you for coming in. You spoke and used the term a poverty reduction lens. Can you just clarify for us, what does that mean and what is the impact in the context of, this discussion in the context of school board or our local schools?
Sure. So there's a lot of viewpoints on poverty reduction, but I'll focus even just on one. Let's say a parent, because it's also familiar for myself, navigating supports for disabled children. Now, it is one thing to be able to have your education, you go to your job, you drop off your kids and they're learning, and another thing to be that parent who's getting calls constantly, who has to fill out forms that are, it takes time and a lot of research to fill out those forms and advocate not just with school, but also with the province and, so forth. When we are trying to balance all of those needs, in that role of the caregiver, it is going to come at a very expensive cost, even while the province is saying we don't have enough money, or even while school boards are saying they don't have enough money. For that parent, the budget is short. We're paying for other things like speech and language. We're paying for, other support system. When we don't have a school that can provide some of those services for the child, where a lot of times it is really looking at the support that's needed in the environment that the behavioral challenges are occurring, not so much supports at home. When we don't have that at the school, then our paychecks become the ones that get affected. We do miss out on work, and a lot of us, like myself, just cannot keep up with that demand of being employed while trying to manage all the challenges that is required to navigate education and or child's learning and the disability supports that's needed. And other things such as for some families, there's challenges of food. Their parents, they are working, they're going full time, they're newcomers and just trying to get themselves established in a community. Finding, I've worked with CultureLink, for example, and helping others that are sort of navigating the newcomer life as engineers and working like your bare minimum jobs, and what that looks like about putting food on the table. And so having something like a food program in some of these model schools helps to be able to help that family to get at least their first year foot in, and knowing that they're not dealing with other challenges such as that constant phone call home, or language barriers and stuff like that. That really does and help to ensure that they are, they're getting the child is having access to education.
Thank you, Trustee King.
Thank you.
And seeing no other questions in the room or questions online, Ms. Aldridge, we thank you for taking the time, and thank you for sharing your perspectives today. That completes our list today. Again, this is the third time the committee has created extra sessions so that we can hear from the public through this budget process. I want to thank members of the committee, staff, and members of the public that have made themselves available to also adapt and to meet the moving target, which this has sometimes been. And with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Trustee DeVitis, I need a seconder. I can second, can I not? I'll second. All in favor? Say aye. Opposed, if any? And we're adjourned. The regularly scheduled meeting of FBAC will commence at 4:30. And until then, we thank everybody.